Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to install, replace or upgrade M.2 SSD NVMe drive on your mainboard. So, to remove it, if it's already installed, you just need a small screwdriver. Unscrew this screw and it will pop out, pull it out, and that's it. So, if you want to install different size, for example, this mainboard doesn't support the smaller format SSD, so we couldn't do them. They support a longer one, and to do that you would need to remove this plastic sticker. You would need a screwdriver like this and gently unscrew the standoff. We have the standoff now, and we put it here. Or if we have some more options here, we can move it there, gently screw it in back. That's it. Okay, so this is AMD mainboard X570 chipset. This is a high-end chipset. It has two M.2 slots labeled Hyper M.2. You would have something similar, but you wouldn't be able to insert, at least not properly, your M.2 SSD because it's M.2 Wi-Fi. So just always look, if it fits, that's your slot, and if it says something like hyper or ultra or fast M.2. Okay, so in this case we can install here two of them, and with your mainboard you usually get small screws like this, packaged, labeled. I already have some screws, so I don't need to open that one. So again, you need to level it here, push with your thumb, for example. You hear click, and press it with a finger, screw it in, that's it. Same thing with the other one. Okay, and again, never over tighten these screws. So once you feel that they stopped, you should stop. They are tiny, they are very, very small, and they can break easily. And then you are left with a broken screw, and then you need to replace the standoff. So this is how you install, replace, upgrade the M.2 SSD, in this case NVMe drives on your mainboard. What about the support? So this is a high-end AMD mainboard, and this mainboard supports CPUs up to 5000 series. So if, for example, if you get 5800 or 5700 CPU series AMD processor, they can support Gen 4 and Gen 3 M.2 SSDs. These are both Gen 3. They are very fast. Gen 4 is even faster, up to 2 to 3 times depending on the model. And if you get the CPU that supports PCI Express 4 Gen, you would be able to use PCI Express 4 Gen graphic card, and you would be able to use SSD M.2 Gen 4 drives. If you get CPU, for example, 5600G, which supports PCI Express 3.0 transfer rate and platform, you would be only able to use Gen 3 devices, graphic card and SSDs as well, because they are dependent on CPU. For example, you have B560 Intel mainboard that supports 10th Gen and 11th Gen Intel CPUs. Over there, this slot would be a primary slot. So always the primary SSD slot, M.2 slot, is the one closer to the CPU. CPU controls, CPU has controller inside, and it controls which gen you can use. So for example, if you have on B560 mainboard 11th Gen Intel CPU, here you would be able to install Gen 4 NVMe, and here you would be using Gen 3 because usually this is how they're limited. But if you have 10th Gen CPU on B560 Intel mainboard. Here, this slot, practically the one that supports Gen 4, you wouldn't be able to use at all. You could only use Gen 3. Okay, so that's it. But on mainboards like this, and especially with AMD CPUs, there's no restriction. You can use equally both, and they're both with the same transfer and bandwidth speed. So thanks again for watching. Any questions, comments, be free to ask below the video. Thank you and see you again. All the best.